Are you confident? Do you have consistency? How much conviction do you have? I'm Daniel Gomez, the Confidence Architect, a business strategist, keynote speaker, executive coach, and best selling author. On the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, we will help you unlock confidence to create consistency and develop conviction. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence. All right. Woo! Welcome back to another episode of the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show, where we motivate you, we educate you, and we inspire today. And I'll tell you what, today we're going to inspire you. I got a great friend of mine, amazing gentleman. He's known as the Wealth Cop. Yes, the Wealth Police is in the house. He's a dear friend of mine all the way from Canada, Mr. Sunil. Sunil, welcome to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. The crowd goes wild. Woo! I gotta hold everybody back, man. I can't hold them back.
We cannot match your enthusiasm and energy, Daniel. So thank you for having me. I really appreciate you.
Man, I tell you what, it's an honor to be here with you on the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show. I know the amazing person you are. Do me a favor, quick. Introduce yourself to the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show audience, if you don't mind, my friend.
Sure. Very quickly, born in a very poor family. We didn't have no electricity, no running water, no washrooms. We were poor in India. At the age of 13, came to Toronto, and the same thing, study hard, get good marks, get a good job. So I did exactly that. I became a police officer in Toronto, and I went from being a uniform officer to becoming a police detective. Then I became a police negotiator, and then finally I became a platoon commander. And within those 15 years of service, my wife came to me and said, we're going to have a divorce. And I had to choose between staying with the family at that time or to quit my job. And I knew it's not what I say, it's what you do, right? It's what you do defines what you do and who you are. So I ended up doing something that probably 99.99% of police officers would have not done, which was to quit that secured job and then went into real estate investing. And why did the media ended up calling me the wealthy cop is because I bought and sold 77 properties the first year alone. A person who had no entrepreneurship background, no real estate background, no genius, no high IQ, none of that stuff. Just a regular guy, shy, would sit in the back if I was to attend an event, never raised my hands to ask any questions. And, 17 years later, here we are, international speaker, the guys like Tony Robbins and Grant Cardone's and Robert Kiyosaki's of the world, and Robin Sharma, Deepak Chopra, all these amazing people who are my mentors. And now I'm a public speaker, 7 times best-selling author. None of that 17 years ago. If somebody has said to me that you're going to become a this and that, I would think you're crazy. And since then, in 17 years, I've developed one of the largest elite real estate club called Private Investment Club, where
I can't picture you being shy. You said you were quiet and I can't picture that, right? And
me too.
I'll tell you, you know what I love about you, talking about your private investment. I got your card right here today.
Thank you.
This guy, my friend Sunil, this card weighs about a pound. Literally, it's metal. That's how. But it's amazing. It's definitely you're a world-class speaker. You're a world-class person. But I can't imagine you being shy.
Very shy. In fact, a lot of people come to me when they say to me, Sunil, what do I do to grow? So I say, one of the things you do is your communication, and one of the ways to communicate is to become a public speaker. And for me, if you had asked me to get up on the stage in front of 5 people before for 30 seconds, just go out and say something, I would just melt to the ground. Like I was not that person. And at an event, I would, like you saw me when I came, we re-met in Houston recently. And I walked in maybe on not early, but not late, but there were people in the room already. And I saw the front row seat available, and I walked straight to the front row middle. And that's why I said, but that would have not absolutely happened 17 years ago. I would be sitting right in the corner in the back, don't want anybody to talk to me. If somebody came to me and said, hello, Maybe I'll say hello, shake hands, but that's it. That's my networking.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is a part of the show where I tell you, get out your pen, get out your paper, because you can feel Sunil's energy, you can feel his wisdom already, and you definitely want to take notes of this episode. Remember, what you write down, you retain over 50% of it subconsciously. Your mind knows your own handwriting. So get out your pen, get out your journal, get out your paper, and take some massive notes, because Sunil's going to drop some massive wisdom. Sunil, how does somebody go, right? You were put, your back was against the wall. You were presented this, not even a choice, right? Either you quit or I'm gone. And you sold 77 properties in 1 year. What to give some added value here? What are two things that you really had to do at that moment to really have the courage to go do? What are two action steps? Somebody's right now listening to this say, you know, I'm a cop, I'm not happy, I'm scared, right? Just the way the world is going. What did you do, man? What are two things that you really did that you implemented and took action on?
So there might be more than two things, but I want to give a huge value today to people why and what has happened to me and hundreds and hundreds of my mentees since then. And it's simply this. First, the strong why. We have heard this before again and again, the purpose. You gotta have a purpose and not worry about the how-to. That's what I was taught all my life. The first thing I say, I want this. The next immediate thing is, how am I going to do this? And if I don't know it, you just stop. What I learned very quickly was the how-to was not my problem. It was not my domain. It was already there. I'm going to attract the how-to once the purpose set. So my purpose was what? Save my marriage and eat food after that, because I just can't quit, right? So it was so powerful. And the second thing I found was, once I made that decision to move, most 95% of my friends, my relatives, my close associates said, Sunil, it's a stupid idea. Don't do it. It's crazy. This is not going to work. Real estate is risky, blah, 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 blah. So the second lesson is that if regular people are telling you that you're crazy, you're stupid, you're idiot, whatever it is, you're going the right way. You're going the right way. That's the second one. Third one, I put a deadline. I said 1 year, I, Sunil Tulsiani, will make $1 million by this date. And I signed it, I dated it, and I made 17 or 18 copies of handwritten notes, and I put it all over my home. And then my wife came and started ripping them all off because she said it doesn't look good. So she said, you can put it on a fridge, you can put it in the washroom, but everywhere else it doesn't look good. So I started putting inside the closet. When you open the drawer, it was right there. In my car, it was right there. And I was watching it, dreaming it, thinking it, sleeping it, eating it every day. Didn't know how to, but I didn't know. So then one day, this guy named Robert Allen, his big ad shows up and says, buy properties, no money down, $5,000. I'm like, $5,000 to me in 2005, $5,000 was like $50,000 to me at that point. Yes. And so the next thing is invest in yourself. You are the most important asset on the planet. And the way you prove it is by investing into something you believe in. So if you believe in real estate is great, you invest in that, right? If you think that certain cars are great, you invest. But what is the biggest investment on the planet? It's you.
Boom, baby. I love that, right? Ladies and gentlemen, listen. Oh man, you're getting me excited because this is exactly what I talk about. You are your best investment. Look at this. You hear me say this all the time, ladies and gentlemen, that you are your best investment. Don't be scared to bet on yourself. That's what you hear me say, right? And you see Daniel going, but look, you're listening to my friend right here, Sunil, multi-millionaire, over and over. He bet on himself. Think about what he said. Right now, you're saying, well, I can't go to this conference, or I can't invest in this course, or I can't go to this, do this, right? Because of the fact of, it seems like a lot of money. Listen to the heart of what Sunil's saying. $5,000 when he started was like $50,000, $100,000 to some of us. I get it. But if you don't make that investment in yourself, Sunil, would you say, how do you expect somebody to bet on you, Sunil, if you haven't bet on yourself?
Exactly. In fact, what we do is the opposite. When we don't invest into ourselves and we think we are the expense, then you actually consider yourself a liability. You're proving to yourself on an ongoing basis that I'm a liability because I'm not worth investing into it. And in fact, I'm just gonna, have a dream, but not do anything about it. And so now you're not only not treating yourself as an asset, but you're treating yourself on a consistent basis, proving to you and the rest of the world that you are a liability to you. And that's unbelievably a great wisdom when when you think about that. It's just crazy, crazy, crazy thing. And the next thing I say to you is this: the dreams. Just look at the dream. Some people say, I make 100,000, I want to make $200,000 or 150,000. Just go with the dream that you really, really, really want. And if you don't have a big dream, just take whatever you want and 10x it. Just 10x the dream. If you think you can only make 100K, just say, I want to make $1 million. You think you can only make $1 million? Go for the 10 million. Go for the 10 million. So the big dream is going to scare the living poop out of you. That is when you grow. Yeah. And last one more thing. All big opportunities, all huge opportunities come to you when you are not ready. All big, not the tiny little opportunities. They come all the time and you feel comfortable, you'll do it. But the big, huge opportunities, boom, show up in your life and you're like, shit. And what do most people do? Most people will say things like, it's not the right time. I'm not ready. I gotta do this with my family or with my kids. Or yes, family and kids are important, but instead of saying, look, I'm gonna find a way to make it happen, this opportunity came to me. Let's say you decide that you want to become the top public speaker on the planet, which is what my goal was, and I've been very blessed to speak all over the world. And you say to me, Sunil, I want to do this. And I said, what's your goal? You said, Sunil, how about if I get on the stage with Tony Robbins? And I said, okay. And then let's say if I was mentoring you, you're like, okay, I want to do this. And then now I call you up and say, Daniel, 2 days from now, there's opportunity for you to go to Italy with 10,000 people and Tony Robbins. And they missed a speaker, or the speaker's not making. And I know the producer, and I'm recommending you, do you want to go? And if that was your biggest dream, that was what you wanted to do, you're going to find a way. You're going to beg, plead with your wife and your kids or whatever you have to do. And you're going to find the fastest ticket and you're going to show up. You're going to do whatever it is. All big opportunities come when you are not ready. You do not have the time to dot all the I's, cross all the T's, sleep on it, think about it. I have a photo of Mr. Branson on the front cover. I was very fortunate to be on the front cover on a real estate magazine, National Magazine of Canada. And he says, when a successful person offers you a great opportunity and you don't know if you can do it, say yes and figure it out later on.
Yes. I love what you're saying, because, think about what he's saying, ladies and gentlemen. Think about what he's saying. I want you to get this point right now, ladies and gentlemen. Sunil was not born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He was not born into a wealthy house. He wasn't born. He was born like me and you, going to school, learning to go work 9 to 5, get a career, retire after 20 years, get the gold watch, whatever the story is. If you really want to be successful, people tell you to become a lawyer, a doctor. I'm not knocking that. But I'm telling you, he said he was poor. He said that at the beginning. You're looking at your situation right now, and you're looking at the circumstances, and you're allowing those circumstances, you're allowing those situations. And listen to what he said. He said that the people, the friends, they told him he was stupid. Imagine that. Imagine that. Now who looks like they're kind of, I don't know, on the other side of that. I always say this, people are going to laugh at you before they applaud you. People are going to call you stupid before they support you. They're going to call you crazy. But are you crazy enough to become the wealthy cop like Sunil was? Are you wealthy enough to become a very successful, prominent man, real estate investor, one of the top in Canada? Are you that person? You have to not worry about the how. Listen to what he said. Why? What's your big purpose? Sunil, I want to ask you this, because you've been amazing, right? You've had amazing success. If you received one word of business advice that really just transformed you in a way that you got so impacted, what would that be?
When growing up in the school, I was a bad student, and when you made a mistake, there was a big X's all over the place. And when I went home, my parents were not happy because they gave me three choices. You know, they were very open-minded. You can be a doctor, you can be an engineer, or you can be a lawyer, and that's the open-mindedness that they had. If you do not do that, you are not what do you call it? Bringing pride to the family and you know all that kind of stuff. So you know, putting kidding aside, because they didn't. And the last thing they said to me was, you know what, you should become a business person or a salesperson. That was the least thing that they would have. In fact, it would be a bad thing for the family if they had to tell their relatives, my uncles and all that stuff, that my son does this, you know, and then the other guy says, my son is a doctor, my son is an engineer, and I look like very low. So the biggest thing that I can say to people is that if you want any family, any area, any city, any country, or globally anywhere in the world, entrepreneurship has to be the top focus if you want to grow. I don't care if you're a doctor. You know, doctors who are entrepreneurs, they're going to do better. Real estate investors who are entrepreneurs, they're going to do better. Podcasters who are entrepreneurs, they're going to do better. So entrepreneurship is the basis of everything, and that includes sales. That includes sales. And that was a degrading word for us when we were growing up. And the way I look at it is this: selling equals serving. Selling equals servings. More you sell, more you service, more people you help. So for me, go out and learn that technique of saying, I have this, and you have a piece of paper. How do we just basically exchange that? That's it. That's what a sale is.
Yes, I love that, right? Sales equals service. Sales is not a bad thing, and I love what you're saying, because actually, if you think about it, Sunil, I wouldn't be here talking to you if I hadn't learned sales. After my dad passed away and I got depressed for a while there, I really didn't know what to do, but I said, well, I'm going to go sell cars. That was the best thing I ever did, because I quickly accelerated. I learned how to communicate at a higher level. Next thing you know, I started running my own team, became the sales manager, became a new car manager. Next thing you know, I'm in charge of 100 employees. I got multi-million-dollar inventory, and I'm in charge of millions now. And it quickly helped me become a businessman. And that's what people don't understand is you can't go wrong with the sales mindset. You can't go wrong with the business mindset. And listen to what Sunil's saying. You're hearing it from someone who has walked the walk and talked the talk. Listen to what he's saying. Think about that. You know, I can't speak for your culture, but I can imagine. I can imagine when you told your mom and dad that, you know what, Dad, I don't want to be a lawyer. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be an engineer. It's not an easy decision, but sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you got to go against what other people think. We all have a gift inside of us. We all have a God-given gift inside of us. That gift is going to make you a millionaire. That gift is going to help you to dream bigger. And maybe you don't feel comfortable saying the word millionaire. It's okay. I wasn't. But the more you get comfortable with it, the more you're going to attract that higher level of people. And I can tell you, I'm going to ask you this, Sunil. Once you made a decision, right, that I'm going to do this, a lot of those friends that were telling you these that you were stupid quickly became unfriended because you had to make room for the new. Would you say that?
Yeah. In fact, in the policing, because we were so cynical, our entire training was, when I looked at a person, the first thing we would do is safety. How do I stand? What do I do? And all that kind of stuff. So it was all about pessimism a lot of times, because that's the training we had. And so most of my police officer friends, you know, I remember going back 6 or 8 months into my entrepreneurship, and my friends invited me on a Thursday night for a drink. So why did they go to every second Thursday night? Because it was a payday, basically. And our platoon got together and they said, let's invite Sunil. I showed up, and then everybody's talking about things like, I don't like my hat, or this person I stopped, he was blah, blah, blah. That person wasn't BS and whatever. And they were just complaining and I'm sitting there because my awareness has changed now, because I was like them. But now I'm sitting there, I'm going, holy moly, we're just talking about how bad the world is, and I'm not part of this. And then finally, basically everybody was talking about their thing, and my turn came. And I'm like, you have no idea. I just closed a deal, made $200,000, and it's amazing what's happening, blah, blah. And everybody just didn't say a word. It wasn't like, whoa, wow. It was like they were like, okay. And you know what happened? Next time, I did not get invited for drinks.
You know
Now, I'm not
why?
saying,
I can guess why too. They said,
yeah,
"Oh, now Sunil thinks he's too good for us."
that's right. They started to think he's like up there, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about 95% of people. There were officers who were like, wow, Sunil, I can't believe it. Can I invest with you? What did you learn? Can I come and see you? Yes. But 95% of them were like that. I'll tell you one thing that was very hurtful for me. You see, in my culture, especially in the 70s and I'm turning 53 this year. And in my culture, you don't go against, you don't disobey your father, you don't disobey your parents, especially your father. And so when I became a police officer, the first time in my father's life, I became a man. I became somebody that he can be proud of, somebody he can go to and say, my son is a police officer. And then I became a detective, my son. And he was like so proud for 15 years. Best relationship that we had was during the time when I was a police officer. And one day I show up and say, Dad, I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to become a real estate investor. And, you know, I could see him just melt. And he couldn't believe. First of all, he said, what the hell is a real estate investor? I've heard of agents. And what do you mean? Because those agents had no idea. And then throughout the 6 months, 5 months, I remember one day I met my dad and I said, Dad, I'm doing really well. And I told my police force that if I don't do well in the first year, you know, can I come back as a police officer? And they approved that. So my dad knew that I had 12 months to fail and I'll go back to work. And so I went to my dad one day and I said, Dad, I just closed this deal and I made $50,000 on it. And my dad just went, and I wanted him to be proud of me, right? Because I saw him do that. And he said to me, son, I go to temple every day and pray that you fail. That you fail so you can go back.
Wow.
Imagine that. And I was really pissed. I was really upset with him. But today, looking back, I know he did it because he loved me, he cares for me, and all that kind of, I get that, right? But this is the level of scrutiny you're going to get or can get from the closest people that you love and trust. It can happen. Your friends may leave you and they may think you're crazy. So if you are crazy enough to have crazy dreams, you gotta be ready for this. You gotta be ready for it. And the second thing is, remember I told you at the school, the X point, you know, when they see you made a mistake and you were looked down upon as a student. And in the world of business and entrepreneurship, one of the things that I learned in 2005 to 2008, I generated millions of dollars. 2008 came, people were telling me crash is coming, this and that. I just didn't listen to it. I was young, 3 years into the business and all that stuff. We lost all the money. We went below the ground financially, which means that somebody who has no money was richer than I was, because I was many thousands of dollars into a debt, had a business, had a big house, had all that stuff, had a family. And then I hired a mentor. I had mentors all the time, but I hired a different mentors. Was like 2008, and then because of there was a big crash in the United States, I actually moved my business from still being in Canada, but started investing in the United States, because I would buy houses that were $200,000 for $20,000 or $30,000, and I learned the no money down strategies, which was basically find an investor who wants passive income. He gives me the money, and then we go buy, fix it up, and we can flip it, we can rent it, we do a rent to owns, we do land contracts. This is what we did with so many properties, and that's what brought me back up and generated millions of dollars again, because I made a mistake, and that was the best university on the planet.
I love that, right? You have to embrace your mistakes. You have to embody them, because that's where you grow. Let me ask you this, because what you just said is pivotal. Because in 2008, we all know the real estate market crashed. We're coming out of COVID, right? There's still like a 2-year hangover. What was it about your thinking, about your mindset, that you didn't allow your feelings to take over and dwell in the fact is, right? If a person loses that much success in 2008, I know I say that because I remember I was in the automotive industry, and I remember reading an article where a dealer took his life, right? He took his life because Ford was pulling back. He was one of the dealerships, and he never recuperated. There's people that don't recuperate from a tragedy like that, from a devastation in the economy. But there's people like Sunil that come back and now they're worth even more. Talk to us about that.
You know, 100% honesty is that when I was going through that, it was not fun. I did not get sort of myself and say, man, this is so the best thing that has happened to me. No, I was devastated. I was under stress because I still had to pay my bills at this. I'm still in the same office, similar employees, number of employees. And then I have a big house and all the payments that needs to go, and then we have to eat. And what happened was my wife came to me and said, how are we going to pay our next month's bill, by the way? I said to her, don't worry, we will. Now, did I know how? I had no idea. But deep down somewhere, I knew that at the right time, something will happen and I'm going to pay my bills. It just happened to just happen. And it always happened where like 2 days before some client would came in or some deal will close or something would happen, boom, the money would come in. Boom, the money would come in and like, okay, we'll pay for that. I knew that all is well. That's the word. Those are the 3 words I kept saying to myself. All is well. All is well. There's a lesson. There's something. And I had no money, but I had mentor. Like crazy, right? My wife's like, why are we paying this guy? Right? We have no money. Why are we paying this guy? So I went to my mentor and said, can I do a payment plan? Can I do some, like, I want to still do it. Can I do this? And he's like, yeah, okay, I'll work with you, whatever. And so mentor was the one that you call up and go, today's been a not so good day. Like I'm feeling this. And then he would say, okay, go out for a walk and ask this question. So I would go out for a walk and ask a question like something like, how can I raise $1 million to buy 50 properties? Like, and then I would forget the question. I would allow the answers to come in. Whenever they came in, I would be walking around and then maybe an hour later, maybe 5 minutes later, boom, an input from God, right? I'm like, my God, oh, wait, what do I do? What do I write? Like, what do I do? Like, and I can't wait to get home so I can just start strategizing and writing on all that stuff. And so what happened was we human beings, bodies, are like a computer that we're looking at right now. And what I realized is that my software needed to be upgraded. I needed to upgrade my software. And software is basically working on yourself, your mindset, your heart set, your soul set, your physical set. And so working in those 4 areas was very, very important because, and then one of the things I took on in those times was squash. I never played squash before. My friend said to me, you want to go play squash? And the first instant was, oh, I can't afford it. Second thing was, I don't have time. I don't have the time. I don't have the time. How often are we going to play? He goes 5 or 6 times a week, and we're going to play for about 90 minutes. I'm like, I don't got time for that. Like, I got to go fry a bigger fish, right? And so whatever happened, I just basically said, all right, let's go. And that was the best thing because when I played squash for 60 to 90 minutes, I forgot about a lot of things. And when I was done, I felt good. My energy was high. My thinking was clear. And all of a sudden, the ideas and the most important part, I felt just like what they talked about in the movie Secret, was this: the entire universe got together and said, you know what, this guy's not giving up. And he wants this. He's not going away. He wants this. So why don't we do this? Why don't we send him the right connections, the right money, the right opportunities, the right properties, and right guidance and mentors and coaches and right events? Why don't we just keep sending it to him and see if he takes it, right? See if he receives it. And initially, when you get something like that, they're like, oh, this big event's coming up in Toronto, for example, or this big event's coming in New York. Because I would fly to Canada, United States, if it was a good event. And it would be like, oh, the cost is $500 or $2,000 or whatever the amount was. And it was like, initially it was like, I can't afford. And then I would catch myself saying, no, all opportunities come when you're not ready. Boom. I said, how do I do this? Robert Kiyosaki, basically, when I read his book, that's what I took away from him was, how can I do this?
How can I do this?
And how do it? And then boom, when I started receiving and accepting this gift from the universe, from God and from above, from superpower, they started sending me more. And it was like magic, man. It was like a magical thing because it was tough, man. It was
I
tough.
want to ask you this because you just said something that I teach on. As a matter of fact, I'm working on my follow-up book. We've had so much tremendous success. I would have never thought that our brand, The Makings of a Millionaire Mind, would have blown up the way it did. We trademarked it and it's doing amazing. So we got our second book that's going to come out. But one of the big things that I'm going to write about in this book, right? What people don't realize is you can't be a $1 million man, right? You put it this way: you can't have $1 million business or $1 million home and be a $5,000 man. It doesn't work that way. You can't be a $10 million man and be a $10,000 man. It's not going to. You're going to collapse. But one of the things that I see in my business and executive coaching, in these high level people that have they sometimes they don't know how to receive, or people don't know how to receive. Is hard.
But they can practice this now, Daniel. They can start practicing receiving right now. And it costs you nothing. When somebody compliments you, don't compliment them back, for example, or at least say thank you to them, receive it. And then if you want to give them something back. But my suggestion is, somebody compliments you, say, hey, that's a good dress. Don't go back to them. Oh, that's not, no, this is just nothing. This is nothing.
I love you know what? No wonder I love you so much, because whenever we were in that room and he said, we have the same energy. I do a corporate training, and this is exactly what you do. I have two people get face to face, and I say, okay, look at each other. Now I want you to do this. This is the exercise that I do in corporate America to prove my point that they don't know how to receive. I go look into each other's eyes, give each other a sincere compliment on whatever they're wearing, and you'd be surprised how many women cry,
especially
men
women
cry. And to your point, when somebody says this is what, and this is, ladies and gentlemen, you got to pay attention, because this is, you're wondering why your business isn't growing. You're wondering why your life is stuck, because you're not receiving. And this is what happens, Sunil. To your point right there, you give somebody a compliment. Oh, yes, I bought this shirt at Ross. It was on sale. Nobody asked you where you bought it at. Nobody asked you if it was on sale. But the simple fact that you try to justify, write this word down, is you try to justify that you got it at Ross, that you got it at Walmart, you bought it on sale. Who cares? Nobody asked you that. They said it was a beautiful shirt.
You're right. You're absolutely right. And the idea is, there's a lot of times, and I coach a lot of women as well, and the women are sometimes even more emotional in that area, or they have a harder time receiving because they've been giving a lot, right? You know, they have hard. And so I actually sit down with them and say, you know, write down 10 things that you're grateful for, that you want to receive. And they, you know, sometimes it's harder for, and then they say the word sorry for no reason. Like for example, they walk into your office and there's a receptionist sitting there. The door opens up. You know, I had one of the mentees in the United States, and I was mentoring her. So we walked into the office, and the first thing my mentee said to the receptionist, who's there for us, says, sorry, I hope I'm not bugging you, but no. She's like, no, it's okay. And later on I said to her, why do you say sorry? And then she finds that there's a pattern of her saying sorry and not receiving. Sorry and not receiving, and that means the deserving part is an issue for her.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Talk to us about your, as we're coming down to the last segment of the show. You have a new book that came out, and then also you have this huge event that's going to go on. So, you know, you drop a lot of wisdom. You're going to have an amazing event coming out. You want to talk about the book first that you just released, the Achieve, or you want to talk about your amazing event?
Well, I'm going to talk about the book, but I want to talk about, so the first book, the book just got released, is called Achieve Volume 2. And this is my mentor, my friend now, Robert Allen. And this is my friend, Kevin Harrington with Shark Tank. And we wrote this book called Achieve Volume 2. And it's all about, you know, how the strategies. How do you find good deals? How do you raise money? And how do you become wealthy in today's environment in 2022 and 2023 during the uncertainty of markets, real estate, and all that stuff. So that's the book that, and I guess I'll just send you the link. If you can put in the show notes for me, that would be that would be awesome. But the more exciting part is that my big event is happening in Toronto. And one of the heroes that I have is a guy named Robin Sharma. He wrote his book called Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And that book changed my life when I was going through some tough times after policing, because there were a lot of people that changed my life. There were a lot of mentors, indirectly or directly. And I'm actually bringing him to Toronto and Wealth Mastery. It's all about, during these uncertain times, how can you grow your business, the tactical ideas, and actually real lifelong experiences shared by Robin Sharma and yours truly. And I'm going to be talking about, where's the real estate market going? How do you raise money right now during these times? Because you should be lining up your money right now, especially if you're a part-time or full-time investor or real estate investor, especially. And don't wait for the market to crash and then start building good relationships. Start building those relationships now, so when the market crashes, you can go out and start not worrying about the banks, and you can buy them cash like I did in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so I'm going to be talking about that. And there's going to be millionaires and multimillionaires in the room, and some of you will have opportunity to even network and break bread with these people, some of my members as well. So I would like to, as we started, I'd like to say that I like to gift up to 10 VIP tickets.
Now, what? Gift what?
10 VIP tickets.
No, you're not.
Yes. And it's for both days. And if somebody comes in person, we're going to give them, their breakfast is included, their lunches are included both days, their breaks are paid for, and putting them into a room where people can actually network, find money partners, investors who want to invest in the United States from Canada, because I have a lot of members who do that, including myself, by the way. And you want to spend some time with me, you want to come in. So if you want to fly down, it's at October 1st, October 2nd, 2022. And if you come by, I will give you that opportunity to have that gift to you, up to 10 people.
I'm checking my calendar right now. Wow.
October, it's a Saturday.
1st. It's free. Sunday. I mean, not free, but you're going to gift these. Are you being serious?
10 people, 10 people.
Ladies and gentlemen, listen to what Sunil's saying. He doesn't have to do this. If you've been praying, you've been asking God for a sign, the sign just hit you on the head with the hammer. Take action like he's saying. Man, I'll tell you what, Sunil. Send me the links. I'm going to put them in the show notes. If somebody wants to get a hold of you, they're listening to this episode right now, how does somebody want to get a hold of you? How can they get a hold of you?
They can send an email to admin@privateinvestmentclub.com, admin@privateinvestment.com. And within those 10 tickets, if you can't fly down there, which would be crazy not to do, then if somebody gets selected and they can't show up, for maybe they are not vaccinated, for example, or whatever, they can get the virtual VIP access as well. So highly recommended you show up, build relationship. And if you win it, but you can't make it, those 10 people, some of them will get the virtual, some of them will get the in-person access.
Man, I love it. I love it. Before we leave you, give us a word of wisdom, one last word of wisdom before we leave the show, Sunil.
Yeah. Create a lose-win situation if you really want to grow. Create a lose-win situation, not win-win, especially if you are trying to deal and do business with some people who are financially have more successful than you are, and you're trying to do business with them. You see, for me, I'm doing business with Jack Canfield, Brian Tracy, Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Kevin Harrington, and some of the people that I used to read their books. And people ask me, how did I do that? I had no connections. I was a shy guy. And the only one thing was, what I learned was, how do I create a lose-win? What is a lose-win situation? I always, in the beginning, used to go to Center of Influences and say, hey, I'm a fan of yours, and can you do this for me? That's a lose-win situation for the other guy. That's not what I'm talking about, okay? I used to go down. In fact, let's say this. Let's say you meet Daniel, and Daniel's at the event, and Daniel is saying, hey, I just wrote this book, right? I wrote this book. And what I used to do is I used to walk up to the authors and I say, wow, that's an amazing book. And I'll think about it some other day. But what I want from you is, can you lend me $1 million? Right? I want to reverse that. And let's say you are the author, you're at the event. What do you want people to do if there's any chance? You want people to buy your products and services, right? You want to buy your books and all. Go invest into the people that you want to do business with. So what's a lose-win? Well, you're losing in the beginning, maybe because you're putting some money and giving them the money, and you don't know if it's going to work out. You don't know if they're going to say yes. You don't even know if they're going to do business with you, but at least you have a chance. But if you go to them and don't buy their products, don't buy their mentorship, don't buy their trainings, you don't show up and you don't say, how can I help you? Can I volunteer for your services, or can I volunteer for your events and all that stuff? Create a lose-win situation and go out, give away minimum of $2 million worth of services for $1 million of cash.
I love that. I love that, man. I get so much wisdom. Last but not least, what's a quote or a scripture you rely on when times get tough on you, when you just need that extra little boost? What's a word of what's a quote or a scripture that you rely on?
Thank you for asking me. There's so many quotes, and I find these quotes to be like a wisdom where in a line or in a sentence. And for me, it's all about, am I being helpful and am I being helpful and creating massive value for the world today? That's the reminder I have to have. Not, am I making money today? Money will come, right? Am I being helpful and valuable for the world, the entire world today?
Amen. I love that. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Sunil Tulsiani. Woo! Man, I'll tell you what an amazing show today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us here this week. And once again, that's a wrap for this week's episode. If you're stuck in life, if you're stuck in business, go to danielgomezglobal.com and get your complimentary discovery session there with us. Get your free entrepreneur assessment there. We're going to give that to you as our investment to you. And also, don't forget, November 18th and 19th here in San Antonio, Texas, the Makings of a Millionaire Mind Boot Camp. Yes, you heard that right. Boot Camp, 2 days that are going to take you from thinking poor-minded and really invest in you. We're going to pour everything we have into you, no holds barred, and we're going to help you create that millionaire mind to help you cut out the arguments from your marriage and really just help you release that financial stress, that anxiety. And if maybe you're stuck in business at $1 million, maybe you want to go to 2 or 3, you know what? We're going to give you the strategies and the mindset to become that millionaire, not just a regular millionaire, but a multi-millionaire. So there's going to be enough content for everybody. I promise you this. You're going to come in one version and you're going to leave another one. November 18th, 19th, here in San Antonio. Go to Eventbrite right now. We'll put the link in the show, the Makings of a Millionaire Mind Bootcamp. We'll see you next week with another amazing guest here on the Daniel Gomez Inspire Show.
This is Daniel Gomez, and thank you so much for tuning into our show today. We'd love your feedback. Please drop us a comment, and thank you for leaving us a review. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and share this episode with a friend. And my free gift for listening to our show today is a copy of my best-selling book, You Were Born to Fly. To get your free copy, go to danielgomezinspires.com and get your copy today. That's danielgomezinspires.com. And to elevate your life and business even more, follow me on social media at Daniel Gomez Inspires on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Together, we will discover the key that unlocks your confidence.